Little League, man, do I love Little League. I tell you what a dynamic age. It's that age where you got kids coming in at 9 years old and they're crying in the dugout when they make an error. All the way up to, and you guys could probably attest to this, that age where you see them do something good and they start to build that little bit of confidence, and that can then, with good coaching like these two guys I have with me here today, that confidence can stay humble and turn into something really awesome. Starting with Little League. And I'm kind of impartial to Little League. That's kind of where I peaked in my illustrious baseball career. So I'm kind of partial to Little League. So I'm excited to have these two guys. What a unique experience this is, to have the Little League coach for Brownsburg on my left. I don't know how you're seeing it on your screen, but on my left in the purple there is Brian Jennings, who is the Little League coach for last year's state finals runner-up, Brownsburg Little League. And then on my right, I have Damon Lewis, who was the winning coach for the Silver Creek Little League Championship in Indiana last year. Then they went on to the regionals, and we'll get into that a little bit, guys. Guys, thank you for being here with me. This is fantastic. We're going over the top stories of baseball in Indiana for 2019, and I'll tell you what, this is a great place to start, in my opinion. Brian, I think we'll start out with you there in Brownsburg, and I think it's easy to say that Brownsburg's got a little bit of Little League baseball tradition, don't you think?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, thanks for having us, Dan. It's my pleasure to be able to come and talk about this kind of stuff. Yeah, Little League baseball is near and dear to my heart too. I will tell you, not being from Brownsburg, coming from a small town where we had a Little League, but they combined a lot of age groups and stuff like this. Coming into Brownsburg was a little bit intimidating. I got to be honest with you, but it's been a great experience. We've got 800 to 900 kids in our league, from fives all the way up to 12s, and it's been a pleasure and a blast. We had a great run last year. It was a lot of fun to see these kids grow, as you mentioned, from 9 on up. They've been playing together. What I call kind of our core 7 or 8 have been around. We've had some that leave to travel, and some that decide they're done with baseball and want to do other things. But have that good core, and it's been really fun and enjoyable to watch them grow all throughout their ages, and even in the tournament last year. So.
Now, you mentioned what I was talking to yesterday a little bit when we were talking about doing this show. And first of all, thanks again, guys, for doing this on last minute notice over the holidays, nonetheless. But you were talking a little bit yesterday about a kind of a unique status you have of being a two-time Brownsburg. But I tell you what, there's a lot of coaches that would like that privilege. Matter of fact, I can think of a high school coach recently, Coach Mattingly down in Southridge, who has that honor at the state level, and it's an honor that I tell you, like I said, a lot of people would like to have. So take me to this year's tournament. You said you were in the with the 10-year-olds a couple years ago. This year, the 12-year-olds, you guys make a great run before you run into this juggernaut named Silver Creek. But take me through the tournament. Take me through some of the highlights. Some of the player moments, some of the team moments that led you up to this great run that you guys had.
Sure thing. So, yeah, as you mentioned, we were state runner-ups in 10-year-old as 10-year-olds. So I was able, and we lost the New Albany team. So of course, the New Albany team was always on our radar. That if we
Another
get back,
great little league program.
Absolutely, it's gonna be the team to beat, right? So as we were preparing and getting through districts, and honestly, we had a little stumble in districts and got beat by Terre Haute North to put us into the losers bracket. Which just meant we had to play another game to get back to Terre Haute North and then beat them twice, which is what happened. And we came back fired up, and I think it kind of gave them a little bit of a reality check and a little bit of a gut check on how much they wanted it. It was nice to see them respond, not taking anything away from Terre Haute North, but they beat us 3-2 in the first game. We came back and 10 run them in the second 2 games. So, I mean, they came back fired up, right? I've got to give all the credit to the kids, right? I mean, you just hope, as coaches, my perspective is, you just hope you don't screw up what they're doing well. Get out of their way and let them perform, right? Yeah. But yeah, so we had that little stumble. We won districts, came in, and there's, interestingly enough, being there before, you have these things of, okay, you can't get ahead of yourself, and you got to play one game at a time. All the cliches you hear are actually very true, and there's a reason they exist, right? But I will tell you, and Damon, I'm sure this doesn't surprise you, but there was a lot of buzz. Oh, New Albany's not in the tournament. New Albany's not in the tournament. Like, yeah, guys, somebody had to beat New Albany, and they're a pretty good team to beat New Albany. Let me tell you. Remember when we played them, and that kind of got them back to reality there, right? And of course, as luck would have it, the first game of the draw and in the same pool was Silver Creek, and of course it was right there, game one, and it was kind of fitting. Game one was against Silver Creek, and the first game and the last game were against I think two of the best teams out there. I don't want to take anything away from the other teams, but I think that two of the top quality teams out there, and it was a fun tournament. As I've said this to a number of people, I had a great experience with Silver Creek. Coaches, fans, players, all great. I mean, you never want to lose, but if you do have to lose, you want to lose to an organization, a program that is like they were, just very gracious and happy to be there. And it was, it was sad, certainly. You never want to lose, but kids have a lot to be proud of. I mean, we were 15-2 for the year, won a tournament that we played in before we started districts, just to kind of do a tune-up. So, I mean, they had a lot of success, and they had a lot to be proud of. Had played a great team in Silver Creek, and nothing to be ashamed of with that loss. So,
absolutely, and I love hearing stories like that. And I tell you, you go from Brownsburg, and I don't want to say one side of the spectrum or another, but just like what you mentioned, losing to Terre Haute North. And then coming back and beating them, and then with Silver Creek having to play them twice. I mean, that's why Little League is great to me. Little League all the way up to high school, amateur baseball in general, is because kids still make errors. They're still 9 to 12, 13 years old, and they're still going to make the errors that make a coach pull their hair out. But then 2 seconds later, they've totally forgot about it, and they totally redeem themselves with some great play. And it's just, that's the beauty of Little League, in my opinion. Now we go from Brownsburg, who, like I mentioned earlier, is kind of a traditional powerhouse in Little League baseball. We go back to, 99 through 2002, I think it was. You were state champions. You've been in the finals a number of times, District 8 champs a handful of times. Great program. Coach Roman over there at Brownsburg's got to be excited about the future of Brownsburg baseball. Well, the present of Brownsburg baseball. We go to Silver Creek, and Coach Decker, he's got to be excited about the future of Silver Creek too. I mean, the high school program by itself just about went all the way last year before they ran into that powerhouse named Edgewood. But now with Coach Lewis, it's the first Little League state championship that Silver Creek has won. And just when I read that first stat right there, first Little League state championship, I said, I got to get this guy on. This is, I love stories like this. And you guys, you got a bright future. I tell you what, I was talking to you yesterday. You talked about some of the, the restructuring of the league and things like that. So let's go to you, Damon. And, that first year, that trip to the, walk us through that trip to the state finals. That had to be a roller coaster of emotions for the kids and the coaches and the parents. Give us that first year experience.
It was amazing. I think we were riding a lot of emotions off of the community excitement. Our basketball team down here won the 3A state title last year, so they had a lot. They were still kind of riding that wave of community pride. And then when we were able to get into district and knock off New Albany, I really think that everybody just kind of got on our backs, and the community support in this town was just amazing.
Well, it sounds like it. And, like we both have alluded to earlier, that New Albany is a Little League powerhouse of their own. So, that's, down there in Silver Creek, is that the, the community Little League that you've got your eyes on every year? That's our goal. We got to beat New Albany.
Oh, absolutely. I've always said that New Albany's kind of been the gold standard of Little Leagues in the state for a while now. I've had a lot of friends that their kids play in Albany. I've had friends that used to play at Silver Creek, and they moved to New Albany, and then their kids end up playing in New Albany. And I'm like, gosh, what if those kids stayed at Silver Creek? What if they had stayed here? What kind of program would we still have? And yes. So, and you're gonna have that type of year in and year out. There's not a lot you can do about it. But yeah, we had our eye on New Albany. We got beat pretty soundly by them the year before when the boys were 11s. I thought, we got beat by Jeffersonville in district. Then we turned around and got beat by Highland Hills. Then we turned around and got beat by New Albany. And I thought we were so close to where we needed to be to compete. And that's all I wanted to do was just compete. And I knew and we had some kids that had left to go play travel ball. And I thought, if I can talk to their parents and say, hey, come back to Little League and let's give this a shot. And all I want to do is just compete. Let's get the boys together. They're all going to play baseball together in high school anyway. Let's go ahead and get them together and get them used to being together and playing together. And let's just compete and give New Albany a run for their money.
I tell you, I like that format. Now, some of the people, I don't have a lot of inside information, but a lot of the people I talk to across the state, that seems to be a format that a lot of the leagues are going to. I'm not a anti-travel ball guy. I'd be a hypocrite if I was, because we didn't have travel ball when I was a kid, but I bet you I would have played. I guarantee I would have if it was there. So that hybrid, like you're talking about, I think has been a solution that a lot of leagues are going to, and it seems to be paying off. They're keeping the local kids together, but they're still reaching that competition in a greater area. It's kind of a response to the times where local communities, as probably both of you can attest to, local communities can't field 12 teams anymore. There's just, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. There's a lot more opportunities today than there was probably when all three of us were kids. So I think the things that kids are doing now are more diverse. So I think it's a response to the different things that kids can do these days. So they're going to solutions like yours, which get the kids together. We'll still do travel ball a little bit, kind of a hybrid, but mix it up. So take me through. You've got your unit together now, and you're going into the state tournament. You probably have high hopes. Let's take me all the way to the end here.
Well, I actually became pretty good friends with New Albany's head coach, and tried to get as much scouting information as I could on the programs up there. First team he mentioned was Brownsburg. We kind of knew we were going to have to go through them if we were going to be able to pull it off. And then when we got the draw and saw that we were playing them first, I'm like, well, you could look at that one of two ways. We're going to see what we've got right off the bat, or, if you get beat in a game against probably your best competition up there, are the kids going to be able to rein it in and refocus for that next game? And a tribute to these kids. I mean, they were just awesome, and we played the best we could play against Brownsburg, and they beat us on a walk-off in that first game. I mean, it was a fantastic baseball game. I think it was 2-0 or something like that. It was really well pitched and the defense on both teams was great. And I'm to say I was pretty concerned after we lost that first game to Brownsburg, because I was worried about the boys and how they'd be down on themselves, but they picked themselves back up, and we won the next two games of pool play, and I knew about Forest Park. I knew they were going to be good. They had a real big physical. He's a physical specimen on the mound, and they threw him against us in the first game of the finals, and we pitched our ace in that game, because you don't win, you go home. So you just gotta throw your best out there and hope the boys respond, and they really did. So and then we just got a great effort again in the finals against Brownsburg, and that's probably one of the best Little League baseball teams I've ever seen. So to beat them, I was just really proud of our boys.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I looked at some of the stats online for both teams, and I'll tell you what, I mean, they were the numbers. I mean, one of the neat stats I saw was the home run derby that that they had, and I can't think of his name, Coach Jennings, but I think I read that he had out of 25 pitches, he had 20 dingers or something like that. It was amazing.
Yeah, that was Colin McNair, and he was one of those that you know, he's a great story too, right? Because he's not one I would say would have been in the core from 9 on up. He was more of a late bloomer and kind of took it upon himself that he was going to make himself into a great hitter and has. And yeah, he just came on like gangbangers. Late years 11, and then certainly this year, it's just amazing.
Well, the pitching performance, Coach Lewis, by I don't know his name there, but I think in the semifinals I read that he had either a no hitter or a one hitter with 16 strikeouts.
It's Preston Burton. Yeah.
And then another good game in the finals, I'll tell you. And going back to what you said there too, Coach Jennings, is that you said he was a late bloomer, and that's another good thing about Little League. From 9 to 12/13, right there, you see a big jump in their, you know, the physical size of the kids as they're maturing. And what you also see is, you know, there are kids that are good, but if they're not really into it, and that's nothing against that, baseball's not for everybody. But then there are the kids who, you know, they may not be at the top at the beginning, but they really love the game. And that's, you know, for Little League, I'd say, you know, if you love the game, stick with it. Because if you love the game, you're going to keep going, where the people that, you know, they may be good now, but if they don't love the game, they're, you know, they're going to stay where they're at, you know, and that's another beautiful part of Little League. I'm getting off on a tangent, which I could all day on Little League. But I'll tell you what, let's talk about this. You know, we talked, both of you now have the experience of being in a state championship, and Coach Lewis going on to the regionals with, you know, playing in Westfield. You know, a lot of these kids, they've played travel ball. They may have already played in Westfield, but how neat was it for your kids, Coach Lewis, that may have never played up at the great baseball mecca called, you know, the Grand Park up in Westfield?
Yeah, it was a dream come true for a lot of them. You know, they've seen it on TV. They watch it every year.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, all the coaches, we all watched it every year. We'd get together and just watch it, and it's so much fun. And we tried to make it as special as we could for them, because we knew, again, you're never going to get this time back. So we had a local company down here donate a charter bus for the week, and so, you know, they got to drive around. We kind of let them play the celebrity a little bit, you know, and they had a lot of fun with that. And no, but I mean, it was just an amazing experience for them. We got got a royal treatment that those boys aren't used to, and I hope they never take that for granted.
Well, and something I read that you said in an interview after you won the state, which I really liked, was, you know, we're going on to regional, and I'm paraphrasing here, we're going on to regionals. And from this point forward, I just want the kids to have fun, and they can never take this away from them. And you're right. That's exactly right. And I think that's a great attitude to have. You know, let's change roles here. And let's say I'm a brand new guy that just a dad that doesn't know much about baseball, and I want to volunteer in Little League. You guys have been all the way to the top. What are you going to tell a guy like me that just wants to, you know, a lot of these local towns, the guy that ends up with the job is just the guy that has the free time and says, yeah, I'll do it because nobody else can. But Little League's a volunteer organization. What are you going to tell a guy like me? You know, taking away your experience just from Little League in general, or, you know, making it all the way to the top? You know, Brian, maybe we'll start with you. Just some general thoughts on coaching Little League.
Yeah, so my general thoughts are, you know, first off is don't be intimidated by it. You know what, especially at the younger ages, the whole goal is that they want to come back and play baseball. It's not that they can throw, you know, a 60-mile-an-hour fastball at age 10, right? That for me, that's my big philosophy. And in fact, I've got a younger son now that's 6 years old. So he played T-ball last year, and now we'll be in a T-ball coach pitch situation. But my mindset shift is, hey, this is just about having fun and kind of tricking them into learning one thing. If that's all you can get during the season, one thing is great. You know, and as they progress and as they age, you get more into the strategy and the mechanics and things like that. But especially early on, just make it fun for them, make them want to come back, because, you know, you alluded to it, and we talked about the late bloomer too. You never know what kid that can't throw a ball at 6 might be the next Preston that can mow people down. And if you as a coach try to force all these mechanics and things at a young age, it's going to turn them off. At least that's my philosophy.
Well, that's a good point. And Coach Lewis?
No, I agree with Brian 100% on that. You've got to really just keep it fun for them. When I first was a head coach in Little League, I found an assistant coach that we kind of split duties on the field, and we both of us were just two basketball coaches that our sons happened to be pretty good at baseball. So we were like, yeah, sure, we'll coach, whatever. And then we ended up winning the league championship down here, and it was like, hey, that was kind of fun. Let's see what else we can do with this. And but you really you've got to keep it fun for the kids. You've got to keep it loose. I think sometimes people put so much pressure on young kids to perform, and it burns them out. And that's the last thing we want to do at this age, and especially with these little leagues, is burn them out. So yeah, just keep it loose and keep it fun. And like Brian said, if you can just give a kid, like maybe he's not great at field and grounders. Go out and work with him in the outfield, because guess what? When he's 12 years old, that's probably going to be one of the most important positions on the field, because everybody's hitting it out there then.
Mm-hmm.
So just give them something that they can work on and focus on to make it fun for them.
Exactly. And I'll tell you that another good point you brought up there, just to kind of accentuate that, was, the good help, because at the end of the day, like we said earlier, we all have real jobs, that we're keeping the lights on with, and, we're volunteering our time here, and, having people to help you, and community support, like you were talking about with Silver Creek there, is priceless. And very much appreciated for a volunteer coach. I'm sure you guys will agree with me on that. So before we go, I am Hardy the Hat Guy. So I got a little challenge here we're doing with all the people we're interviewing here, and it is guess the hats. I've got 5 hats that I'm going to have you guys guess. Now, you're lucky. This is the only interview we're doing where we got 2 people, so you guys can collaborate to come up with the answer here. Everybody else is on their own, but I tell you what, we got Steve Craw, for example. I'm going to have to do something to make it a little bit harder for him, because he's going to get them all. So let's pull up some hats here real quick. Hat number 1, right there. That's the letter K, if you can see that. And I'll give you just about 30 seconds. You can talk amongst each other. And
What do you think, Brian?
I'm not sure, Damon.
I'm not either.
I can tell you that this is the toughest one you're going to face right here. Now, here's your hint. The coach that wears this hat is the president of the IHSBCA.
Oh man.
And his name's Kevin Hannon. All right, let's go to the next one. I'll give you the answers here when we're done. This hat right here, here's your hint. I'll give you a couple hints on this one. You can see the 59ers there on the left side of the hat. And the coach that wears this hat is, as of this year, the all-time winningest coach in Indiana high school baseball history.
Oh, jeez.
And I'll even give you another hint. A guy that graduated from this school was the starting pitcher in the first round of the playoffs last year for the Oakland A's.
Is that Andrean?
Yeah.
Andrean. Got it. I gave you the answer there, didn't I? I said it was going to wait. This is the only college hat in the collection. This is a college in Indiana, and the assistant coach for this college is the executive director of the IHSBCA. And it's around Fort Wayne.
I'm
sure about that
one. Yeah.
Their nickname is the Foresters.
Not sure about that.
Okay, let's go to the next one here. I think we got 3 more. The current coach that wears this hat is just past the 800 win club this year for Indiana high school baseball. This town hosts the Indiana Baseball Hall of Fame, and it has about 2 former coaches in the Indiana Baseball Hall of Fame.
Is that Jasper?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna go with. Is Jasper.
Jasper. All right, you're 2 for 4. I think this is the last one right here. This is what I would call the first baseball dynasty in the state of Indiana, and it's up in northern Indiana. And their nickname is the Slicers.
My first guess, Damon, is Laporte, but that's just a complete guess.
I'm gonna chime in and say that's it.
Okay.
It is Laporte. So as we go backwards, we got Laporte,
Yep.
Jasper. That is Huntington University.
Huntington. Gotcha.
That is Andrean. You got that one right too. So you had what, 3? Yeah, you had 3 right. That is Knox High School. Knox High School. The Redskins of Knox High School. Their AD and baseball coach is Kevin Hannon. He's the president of the IHSBCA. Guys, I really appreciate you playing. I really appreciate you joining me today for this top stories in baseball in Indiana for 2019. I think definitely the story of Silver Creek winning their first Little League, and just that dynamic of Silver Creek being there for the first time, playing Brownsburg, who's there quite frequently, and the fact that you guys, share the same beliefs for Little League baseball. It's just part of what is great with Little League baseball. And I'm not just talking about Little League in general. I'm talking about guys like you two. So I really appreciate that, and I really mean it. Thanks for joining me. Good luck to you guys both next year, and best wishes to your families over the holidays. Thanks, guys.